Really hard to get all super excited about Carlos Correa winning the platinum gold glove when he's not really your shortstop anymore. But congratulations, Carlos Correa. The Houston Astros are the gold glove winning team. And are the Astros going after one of the premier free agent center fielders? We'll talk about that and more on this Locked On Astros podcast, which begins right now.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
Yeah, you can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Guys, continually make the Locked On Astros your first listen every day, whether that's the video version. Keep on subscribing to us on YouTube. Keep on liking us. If listen to us on your way to work, on our way home from work, we know that y'all have a long drive to work every day. So keep on listening to us on Odyssey, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Keep on listening to Locked On Astros podcast and use the hashtag first listen every time you tweet at the Locked On Astros podcast. So, there was a lot of news over this weekend, and one of the big things that was breaking when I was on the way to Rockets game on Friday night was that Carlos Correa won the Platinum Award, Gold Glove Award, and this is something that I guess I never really paid much attention to because none of the Astros really were ever considered. I mean, Carlos Correa never won the Gold Glove, so he was never considered for the Platinum Award. So this is a really big honor. I mean, Nolan Arenado, he was a fixture winning this award. I think he won 5 years in a row with the Rockies or something like that. So he also got that in with the Cardinals in the National League. But this means something. This shows that not only was he the best shortstop, but he was the best defender in the American League.
Yeah, he was the best overall defender. So he went from gold to platinum. And on top of that, the Astros won the team Gold Glove Award because they had the most, I guess, Gold Glove recipients in the AL, just like the Cardinals. Arenado's team won the Gold Glove Team Award in the National League. But Carlos Correa much deserved. I feel like last year, 2020, he deserved a Gold Glove. They went off metrics and algorithms. They didn't, I don't think, properly judge the fielders, but Carlos Correa definitely should be winning his second in a row. And the Platinum Glove not only solidifies his place in Astros history as probably the best shortstop to ever play the position in an Astros uniform, but also ups the ante for those who are going to get Carlos Correa. And, you know,
the Yankees.
I honestly don't think he's going to the Yankees, Eric. I really think he's going to stay in Texas. I really think he's going to be a Texas Ranger. I don't see him going to Detroit. I don't see him going to New York. I really think he's real big on personal relationships. And to me, honestly, I know at the end of the day, money talks and you know what else walks. But at the end of the day, when you see the way that the Yankees fans treated his best friend, Jose Altuve, the F. Altuves, all that stuff, why would you want to put your family with that fan base, with that group of people? I wouldn't. Bad company corrupts good morals, right? Yeah. Or if you run with dogs, you're going to get fleas. I wouldn't want to do that. And so Detroit, I think, is kind of out. I think a dark horse is St. Louis. I'll be real honest. I think St. Louis is a very strong possibility, but if you were to ask me to put money on a team and you gave me the Rangers, you gave me the Dodgers, you gave me the Yankees, you gave me the Cardinals and the Orioles, I would go with the Rangers. I just think he stays in Texas. And here's why. Some practical reasons. His wife is from Texas. His family has established himself in Houston, and becoming a Ranger would not be that far of a stretch or a leap from where he is. Wouldn't have to get much out of his comfort zone. There's no state income tax here. They've got a lot of money to offer, and he could be the guy they build the team around. So I know there's not a lot of people talking about that. I just have a feeling that he's not going to New York. And honestly, personally, I don't want him to go to New York. I would absolutely hate that. I want Carlos Correa to have a Hall of Fame career. I want him to have a great end to his career, but I don't want it to, if it's not in an Astros uniform, I wouldn't be upset if he was a Texas Ranger.
Well, I know that he led the MLB with 21 defensive run saves, so that's kind of the reason why he got that award. So, congratulations, Carlos Correa. And he actually made a bet with, or made a promise to Joe Espada, and he said, "Look, if I win a Gold Glove this year, I'm gonna give you a Rolex watch." And so he texted Joe Espada and said, "Hey, I want to make good with this," and I
Yeah.
told him. And Espada said, "You don't have to." I told him that's my job, my duty to get the best out of players and to put all of them in a position to succeed. But Carlos is a person that keeps his word. I'm extremely proud of the player and the leader he has become. It's become a pleasure watching him become the best shortstop in the league. That was Joe Espada. So Carlos Correa is buying Espada a watch. So that doesn't mean he's staying in Houston, but that just means he's
No,
fulfilling
yeah.
his word.
And Eric, I honestly I don't see the word that's out on the street. This isn't a private word. This is basically publicly. There are people saying that Crane is absolutely not going to go above 5 years. If he doesn't go above 5 years, Eric, we all know that he has to raise the AAV. He has to go beyond the 160. He would have to go 210. He has to get around 35 to 37 million. And I don't think he's going to do that. I think they are okay with Diaz being the opening day guy, bringing in Pena in behind. I don't think they'll sign Simeon. I don't think they'll sign Story. The other guy, and we can talk about him second segment, but I think there's someone else, a big, option in the free agency market that would keep you from having to go and get a big shortstop. I honestly wouldn't get Trevor Story, and here's why. I think Trevor Story is going to demand a long-term deal. I wouldn't sign any of these guys to a deal past 5 or 6 years. I just wouldn't. If you're not going to sign Carlos Correa to an 8 to 10 year deal, why would you sign Trevor Story to an 8 to 10 year deal?
All right, before we move away from Carlos Correa,
No, yeah.
Bill Pulaski, I'm not even sure how he says it, but he's been trashing the Astros for 2 years now. He's been personally trashing Carlos Correa, but he wrote out a whole article about this, and here's his title: Correa to the Dodgers. Don't trash this idea. If they can't re-sign Seager, they should gulp, pursue the villain. And then he writes a whole statement about how they should go out and get Carlos Correa. How the turntables have turned. I mean, you've been booing this guy, and maybe that's why they went ahead and DFA'd or whatever happened to Joe Kelly. But Samuel said it. I don't think Bellinger and Correa could coexist. I mean, because they're the ones that are kind of bickering and everything, but. I just don't see Correa going there. I mean, maybe that's just a way to kind of get people to read his article or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Clickbait. Hey,
Yeah.
I get it. LA Riders are starred for a championship that takes 162 games to win. I mean, I would be envious too of a guy who won a World Series on my home field as well. So yeah, there's a lot of Carlos Correa envy. There was a lot of Carlos Correa hate. There's a lot of, I can't stand that guy. He's the apex predator, blah, blah. Even John Boy, when we interviewed him, he's like, yeah, that is one of the guys that really gets your goat. But even John Boy said, I mean, hey, they're talking about bringing in Carlos Correa. I mean, everybody wants this guy. And that's what I think is tough for the Astros. And Eric, even if we sign other big names, I think there's going to be somewhat of a PR fallout, and the Astros are going to have to do some PR moving in the offseason to keep the trust of some of the loyal fan base here in Houston. What do you think?
Yeah. But before, let me answer that in a second. But
Yeah.
Carlos Correa said it was a special moment to be voted by the fans to be called a platinum Gold Glover. It's surreal. I still can't believe it. Putting in work every single year, getting better year by year, and finally putting together the defensive metrics that did it this year. It's something I'm proud about and something that speaks volume about how great a coach we have in bench coach Joe Espada. So that it kind of goes back to that. So what was your question again?
I'm sorry.
I was trying to find that quote.
No, it's okay. Basically, what I was saying was, I mean, do you think Carlos Correa would? I completely forgot my question. So let's just move forward.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sometimes,
You know
guys,
what?
Eric doesn't listen to me.
Sometimes you just got to watch TV and watch
Oh my God.
what your person's saying, and it makes you kind of want to watch direct TV.
Yeah, you were probably watching DirecTV instead of listening to me talk, but that's okay. Sometimes that's how this relationship works. But does this sound familiar to you, fam? You've got one device that catches the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, and you're watching highlights on your phone, and you got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all your entertainment together that you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally just bring it all in one place. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before. So you can catch your favorite sports, movies, shows all in one place. Like if you're watching Yellowstone, or if you're catching the latest MLB Network, whatever you want to do, catch it all together. Quit juggling the remotes. Quit buying another device. You don't have to buy another device ever again. That's the best part. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
All righty. So, guys, thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's at YouTube while you're trying to work and you have us on your phone with your AirPods and listening to us while you're supposed to be working with YouTube, or on your way to work, you're listening to the audio version. Keep on listening to Locked On Astros podcast, your first listen every day. So, a lot of stuff. Has come out this weekend about Jon Heyman saying something about the Astros being interested in Starling Marte.
Yes.
This is kind of out of left field, or I guess we should
Well,
say out of
well,
center field.
well, I don't actually, it's not, Eric. I mean, it's a known fact that the Houston Astros were pursuing him in free agency in midseason anyways. That this was something the Astros wanted to do this past season and couldn't get it done. And everything that I'm hearing right now is that Starling Marte is a very real possibility, Eric, in Houston. And this guy does have good career numbers. I mean, Starling Marte is how old is he? He is 33 years old. He is basically a 289, 346, 451 career hitter. He just had a career high 132 OPS plus in 2021. The guy's got 155 or 165 career home runs. He's a terror on the base paths. He can man center field. Jake Myers is down to start the season. Chas McCormick and Jose Siri are not the guys you're going to rely on as a starter. Let's just be honest, okay? I love them in the outfield. I love them as extra guys. But if you have a chance to get Starling Marte, now Starling Marte, I would think the starting price would be around 16. He's going to want probably about 20. The Astros may offer him somewhere in the middle. But from what I understand, both the Astros and Marte are interested in each other, not just one-sided. And that's why I think it favors Houston for him to come here. It would be a huge signing. You could lead him off, put Brantley second and put Jose Altuve third. You could lead off Altuve, put Marte and I mean, this lineup, it would be a huge get for them. Starling Marte, and I mean, he can hit the ball in Minute Maid Park. We've seen him do it against us when he played against the A's, and that short porch in left field, the Crawford boxes, favors him well because he is a huge, heavy swinging pull side hitter, and that would be a great get for the Houston Astros. I think him and JV coming back are more likely than Carlos Correa signing. I think both of those guys together are a greater chance of. And if you'd have told me that 2 or 3 months ago, I would have said, "There's no way. There's no way. Carlos is coming back. Carlos is coming back. We want Carlos back." But I don't see it. I love Marte in center field. I know some people don't love it, but why wouldn't you go get the guy? You get him on a 3-year contract. Get him till he's 36. Put him in center field. Once Brantley leaves, if he leaves after this next season, if he retires or something happens and he's not here anymore, you slot him over in left field. You put Pedro Leon in center field. Boom, you got a crazy good outfield. Tucker, Marte, Leon. It's done.
What he offers that the Astros don't really have is the speed element. He stole 47 bases last year. He stole 22 with the the Marlins, and somehow he stole 25 with the A's, and I guess he had about the same amount of plate appearances. So,
Well, you get
yeah,
him leading off, Eric, with that stealing base. You get him leading off, and you put Jose Altuve up, who's a contact hitter. That dude's at third base or home every time Altuve
right.
hits. If Altuve doesn't hit the ball out of the park.
Yeah. So I think that what the Astros are doing is they're saying, okay, well, I think our little stall tactic with Correa is like, it's not going to work. We're not going to get him for any less than 5 years. So I think we're going to have to kind of move on from Correa. And so they may try to go get Story, but at the same time, I don't know if they're going to get that. So what they may go look at doing is getting a center fielder and then going and getting don't attack me or anything, but they may go get it at Andrelton Simmons or somebody just for 1 year, just to kind of bridge the gap to for Jeremy Pena to be ready or somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Simmons wouldn't be a bad defensive replacement for Carlos Correa. I mean, that wouldn't be, honestly, if you're going to
We have
spend
no
money
speed
somewhere
on the
else.
team.
Right, right.
That's why you need a guy
Yeah,
like Marte. We have no speed.
that's well, I mean, but that's the thing. If you got a Simmons to man shortstop, now, okay, here's why I don't think they'll get Simmons, because they would only get Simmons for his glove. And I know Diaz isn't a defensive guy, but James Click has publicly said he thinks Diaz is a very good all-star level shortstop. His words, not mine. Okay. Now, would you rather Simmons' glove or Diaz's glove to start the season? I think they're counting on Jeremy Pena. I hear they are very high on Pena. They are very convinced. They are excited about Pena. I
Well, he's got
just
to be
don't
added to
think.
the 40-man roster anyway.
Right,
So.
right. Yeah, I just don't think he'll be the opening day starter, but you watch, Pena may end up playing more games than anyone else at shortstop next year if we don't sign Carlos Correa.
Well, Diaz has a history of not being able to stay healthy as well. So if you do start the season with
That's
Diaz as
true.
everyday shortstop, then you may have to eventually go with one of the rookies. And so, yeah, that's a situation the
Exactly.
Astros may have to deal with. But Click has already said that they're not looking at Alex Bregman to move over to shortstop. They like his defense over at third base. You don't want to, especially with all his injuries he's been dealing with, you don't want to move him to a different position that he's gotten used to, and plus his defense is just great. So I still would like them to look at Story, but I don't think you're going to have to give him a massive length like you would at Carlos Correa, because Carlos Correa is still he's coming off a great season. Story is not coming off a great season. He's coming off a good season, but he's not going to demand the I really don't think Carlos Correa is. I mean, he's great defensively, but his numbers, he's not even as good as he is. I don't think he's worth the 10 years, 357 million contract I've seen out there.
The big question is he a $300 million player?
Yeah.
That is the question. And I don't think that is an unreasonable thing to speculate. Now, a lot of Astros fans that will tend to fanboy and gosh, they love their team. And I don't ever want to knock anybody who loves their team, because I'm just about as passionate about the Astros as anybody else. But you've got to look at the whole body of work with Carlos Correa. I get accused all the time of wearing Astros colored glasses. And I
Or
promise
hats.
you, or hats or bowler shirts from Foco. Thank you. But the bottom line is this: Carlos Correa, from this point forward, I bet stays injury free. Carlos Correa, from this point forward, I believe will be worth every penny a team pays. If a team sets his value at $300 million, he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, because every 10-year deal that's had that kind of figure behind it, the player has petered out after the fourth or fifth year. And that's just because of aging. It's not because they stopped trying. Everybody's like, oh, well, once they get paid, they stop playing. Our Pujols didn't stop playing. Our Pujols just kept getting injured. That was our Pujols' big problem, were his injuries. And the dude can still hit. When he's 40% of a player, he's more than 100% of most major leaguers at the plate, just because of his eye and his framework and his veteranship. But at the end of the day, Eric, you're right. I don't think he's a $300 million player, but I'm thinking someone like the Rangers might pay, because they need a big name. They don't have a Beltre. They don't have their big guys. They're building, and they've got some promising rookies coming up in their minor league system. They've got some guys that are 1 or 2 years away the Rangers may start competing maybe before the Angels ever do.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I mean, we may have the work stoppage before any of this gets settled, and we may have to deal with all this crap. Like,
Boo.
are we going to have to deal with where Carlos Correa is going to go until like February or something, or May or March, and then into
He's going
the
to go to the KBO because they're not playing baseball here.
yeah.
I'm joking.
I just don't think I know like Thomas says that Story steals bases too. Yeah, I'm aware of that, and I know that Story has that too. But I think that the Astros are looking at cheaper options because Story is in a different situation where there's a premium right now for shortstops. Center field, yes, Marte is the best center fielder probably out there, but or one of the better ones. But I think that you can get him for a little bit cheaper because of his age. Story is still a little bit younger, so I think that he's going to want a little bit younger. I mean, longer contract.
So this is what Spotrac says. They're saying so. This is where I disagree with them on. They do say Story's AAV market value is higher than Carlos Correa. They have Carlos Correa at 26 million. They have Story at 29.8 million. They say his market value, get this, Eric, is 8 years, $238 million. I'm telling you, Story's going to get a big contract. Story's going to get more than 5 years. He's not going to go somewhere for. I'm just saying. Now, their estimates may be off, up or down, but that's what Spotrac's saying.
So, are Built Bars involved in that? Like,
a
box of Built Bars here or there every year or something.
Now, look, as much as I love Built Bars, I don't know that they're gonna see. I don't want to give false advertising. Like, I don't want people to order a box of Built Bars and think that their employer is going to give them like a $500 million contract because they're suddenly consuming Built Bars. But what I can tell you is this: I promise you that this Thanksgiving coming up, thank you. We're so thankful for Thanksgiving, and I really hope that you've got plans with the family, friends, whoever it is you celebrate with. It doesn't matter. Grab a box from Built Bar. That's right. Instead of the coconut cream pie, get the coconut Built Bar. Instead of the raspberry pie, get the raspberry Built Bar. I mean, you think I'm playing. I'm not playing. They're wrapped in 100% chocolate. Real chocolate. It's not fake. It's none of this stuff from like some like foreign planet. It is real 100% chocolate. 4 grams of sugar, maybe 4 to 5 grams of net carbs, 130 to maybe 180 calories, and better yet, about 19 to 20 grams of protein per bar. It's amazing. Check it out. New surprises are coming all month. Limited time flavors are arriving at built.com regularly. So check the website often. There's nothing like Built Bar Black Friday. Mark your calendar. Black Friday will be a huge event with all sorts of surprises, and you don't even have to get in your car. You don't have to fight the traffic. Just go to your computer, type in built.com, say, man, I remember what H-Town Wheelhouse said. He said, use the promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED 15. You'll get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com and replace those massive calorie pie pieces with a Built Bar. You won't go wrong.
All right, I'm looking at Trevor Story stats, and I want y'all to know that I am still all aboard Team Story. I really think that the Astros need to go teams to get Story, but Marte is an interesting option. He's a way to get another veteran into the outfield. He's a Story can give you 20 stolen bases. Marte can give you 47 to 60 stolen bases. There's a big difference there. There's somebody that is a true leadoff hitter. There's somebody that can give you a Kyle Tucker type of stolen base. So there's a big difference there. But if you look at, somebody said that he's been struggling past 2 years. Yes, in 2020 he wasn't the best he's been, but he still finished 11th in the MVP talk in a NL. So he had that year he had a 874 OPS, and so he had a 120 OPS plus that year. In 2021, he dropped down. The Rockies were not a great team. He only played in 142 games, and I know that's typical for him. He's struggled with staying healthy. So has Carlos Correa. This was the first year that he actually stayed healthy. He did have 24 home runs this year. He did have 74 RBIs, 20 stolen bases. His OPS was 801. But if you just think about it, he played on a bad team. He did not get traded. All the talk was he was going to get traded to a contender, and then all of a sudden, when the trade deadline came and went. He's still here. So he's like, oh crap, I get to play on this bad team again some more. So, I mean, I'm not saying he quit on the team, but he would probably, if he would have come to Astros or gone to Dodgers or gone to Giants, that he would have been reinvigorated and
Now,
just
right.
got going.
Okay, so here's the deal. So Trevor Story is 28 years old, 28 years and 29 days old. Okay.
Right.
Starling Marte
It's 33.
is 33 and 5 days old. So he will be turning 34 this next year, obviously. And what you're saying means something. Now, what I'm looking at too is I'm looking at the strikeouts. Trevor Story strikes out a whole lot.
Crap.
Trevor Story, I mean, he's got 865.
He kills me in my fantasy league. Yeah.
So, but he hits a lot of home runs. He's only hit 100 RBIs once. You would think he would have more with having 37, 34, 24, 27, and, with those numbers. And everybody's always going to ask, what about the whole Coors Field effect? I don't really know that that's really that big of a deal. Trevor Story is younger. Now, your question is this. If we miss out on Starling Marte and we go get Trevor Story, do we miss out on a 2 or 3 year deal of a solid center fielder to help us so we can bring in a Leon so that when Leon comes up, we can move Marte to left. We can have Leon in center field. If you don't get Marte, you have to depend and hope that Chaz and Siri hold it down and Leon becomes who he says he's going to become. But then who moves to left whenever Brantley?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brantley is here for 20 through 2022, correct?
One more year.
So after that, what is he going to do? And so you've got to look long term. I think Marte and Story, you can make a case for them and you can make a case against them. I like Story for his age. I like Story for the tools he offers. I like Marte for the immediate impact, for the speed, for the bat, and for the uptick in power in Minute Maid Park. I think Marte makes more sense. Why? Because you're signing him for a shorter period of time. You're not hamstringing yourself to an 8 or 10 year deal because Story's not going to take 5 years if someone's going to offer him 8. And if you're going to offer Story 8, then why would you sign Correa? I mean, why wouldn't you sign Correa?
I don't think that you're going to get Story. Story's not going to get more than 5 years because of the whole Coors Field effect. I mean, they're going to be like, well, dude, we don't know what you're going to do outside of Coors Field. So,
like I said, I don't think right.
You haven't stayed healthy for a full season, and we don't know what you can do.
But what about
a bad year?
Hold on. What about Nolan Arenado? He hasn't skipped a beat. There is no Coors Field effect. If you look at
he's one of the best players in baseball. That's a difference.
No, if there's this thing called the Coors Field effect, it affects everybody. Period. It affects everybody. And that's why Larry Walker had his rough road to the Hall of Fame. And that's why people look down on anybody else, Todd Helton, that had success in Colorado. And I can't give you the exact cited article right now, but I've read publications that have done statistical analysis of the Coors Field, this and that, and it's not as big of an issue.
Okay, you ready?
Go ahead.
His whoa, it shifted on me. His OPS at home is 972.
Okay.
His OPS away is 752.
Okay.
His batting average at home is 303. His batting average away is 241.
Okay, so now go do Nolan Arenado. And if you know what I'm saying, I think if the Coors Field effect holds weight the way we think it does.
We're not talking about Nolan Arenado. We're talking about Trevor Story right now.
Okay.
So we're talking about you're talking about the whole. I'm talking about Trevor Story.
Okay.
So that's all we're focusing on right now is what Trevor Story is.
Okay. I'm just telling you, Trevor Story's going to get a bigger deal.
The Trevor Story deal. I'm just saying he's not going to get an 8-year deal. There are too many question marks surrounding him. He'll get a 5-year deal, maybe a 6-year deal, and it's not going to be for as much as Carlos Correa is looking for. So I think that's why he's more in the orbit of what the Astros are looking for. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
Speaking of
being,
disagree.
speaking of being out of the Astros orbit, is Brett Strom is no longer able to be the Astros pitching coach, and we already knew this because he stepped down. But he is now going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks pitching coach. So this was something that broke on Friday night, and we haven't had a chance to discuss this.
Yeah.
And it's not a it's you, it's me type of thing. It was just a time where he just felt like he wanted to step aside. I don't think he said he was bored, but he
No,
wanted a
he just,
challenge. He
yeah.
wanted a challenge. He wanted to go back to the feeling where he was in 2014, where he came to a new organization and he had to fix it. Like he just felt like it was. I mean, like we've
He
all been in
felt,
that situation.
he felt like 9 years was enough time. He felt like 9 years was enough time with the Astros, and he basically had done all he had done. And he claimed, Eric, he claims that he's like, I get way too much credit for the success of the pitchers. He said the analytics department, the pitching coaches, they get a lot more credit than what I should be getting. I believe he has some quotes here from him.
Yeah, it was my gut feel that my 8 years there had not run its course, but I think that what made me recognize it was the two guys I worked with this summer, Murph and Miller, are really strong in what they do, and they're more capable to continue. I just thought that it would be the best thing to step aside. There's no conflict between Dusty and I or the front office. It was just a gut feeling. And it was home for like 2 or 3 days, and I got the itch again. People that have been in baseball for a long time don't really lose that feel. When the Diamondbacks did call, it was exciting. He got some offers to do some consulting for other teams, but the Diamondbacks said, "Hey, we want you to be our pitching coach. What do you say, big guy?"
Yeah, and he also said it's a new chapter. The support that the entire organization gave myself in the pitching program was phenomenal. Everyone was pulling on the same page. All the analysts, medical people, everything. There was never one person. There was never a one-person show. I got way too much publicity and credit for something when I was just the point man and on TV. And so basically, what he's saying was, y'all saw me on TV, but I wasn't the worker bee. I was basically the general. I was the foreman. I was the manager. And that is a great leadership quality that Brent Strom has, because I very much believe that he had a massive positive effect on the careers like Charlie Morton, like Dallas Keuchel, like Lance McCullers Jr., all these pitchers that have come through, Brad Peacock when he was shining, all these pitchers that have really kind of been diamonds in the rough, right? But that's what a good leader does. He takes credit, says thank you, but says, hey, it's these other guys too. And he says, he also said that it's going to be a challenge in Arizona. It's not going to be easy. And I think sometimes we get bored with what we're doing, and sometimes we need to be challenged. And that guy's mind, he's so cerebral. I bet you he was like, you know what? I know my wife likes it in Arizona. We like the area. It's a challenge. They've got a lot of needs, and man, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's a reinvigoration of life for him. And, good for Brent Strom. And there were media people reporting that there was a tiff and there was front office issues. And okay, why can't a guy just leave because he wants to leave, right? Why does there always have to be drama?
Yeah. So Samuel says Arenado went from 300 hitters in Coors Field to hitting 250 at Cardinals. Yes, Story will not get more than 5 years. It's just
okay. What are you doing trying to drive the point home to me? Like, I'm telling you, he's going to get more than a 5-year deal. So you can put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Alrighty. So, guys, that I think that's all we got. Tomorrow I think we're going to talk a little bit more about Justin Verlander. I think Brent has a good feeling that maybe there's a chance Verlander will be back, but we won't know that until something actually happens. But we'll also talk some more about what led to the Astros kind of winning the team gold glove, and we'll talk about some arbitration numbers, so like the players who are up for arbitration, and we'll talk about some more on tomorrow's Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you tune in all off season to this Locked On Astros podcast, and we'll talk about that tomorrow on the Locked On Astros podcast. And keep on listening every day, and go Stros. Have a great off season, and go.